Good morning, fifth graders. Today we are going to continue with our geometry and we are going to move into finding the volume of 3D figures by counting the total number of same size cubic units that fill a shape without gaps or overlaps. So this is what that means. We are going to find the volume of cubes and rectangular prisms in cubic units. The volume of a cube or rectangular prism is the number of cubic units needed to make it. So this is what a unit cube is. It has a volume of 1 cubic unit. What that means is it's one cube, one little cube, which means every side is the same length. So now if we put a bunch of those together, we can put those together to find the volume of larger cubes or rectangular prisms. So here you can see we've made a larger cube with 2 layers. If we break those layers apart, you can see in our first layer we had 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes, and then our second layer it would be 5, 6, 7, 8. So the total volume of this cube is 8 cubic units. Here's what it would look like if we had a larger one. So as you can see, when we look at this original cube over here, we can see that there are 5 across the front, 5 going back, and 5 stacked on top of each other. So what I've done here is taken that and split it into the 5 layers. So when we're trying to find volume, what we want to know is how many of these cubes would it take to fill that entire thing? So we're going to go layer by layer. In this first layer, we know there are 5 right here for our width and 5 across the front for our length. So if we wanted to find how many cubes were just in one layer, it's kind of like finding area where we multiply that length and that width. 5 times 5 is 25. There are 25 cubes in this first layer. So 25 is our base layer. But then we've stacked layers on top of that. So we want to count, well, how many layers did we stack it up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to take that base and we're going to multiply it by those 5 layers. 25 times 5 is 125 total cubes. So to make this entire cube right here, the volume would be 25 cubic units. Or sorry, 125 cubic units. We're not always going to be able to take apart the layers like that. So what we can do instead is use a formula, just like we used when we found the area of parallelograms or area of a triangle. The formula to find the volume of a rectangular prism is to multiply the length times the width times the height. That's what we're doing here. Length times width times height. 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, and then we multiply it by another 5. So you're going to see this looks just like when we broke it apart into the layers. 125 cubic units. 125 cubes make up this larger cube. Okay, so now you're going to do some examples in your notebook again. So get out your math notebook, open up to the table of contents, and write what you see here. So make sure you pause the video, get it out and write this, then turn to your next blank page. Now that you're on your next blank page, make sure you write your problem and your work, and you draw your line down the middle. We're going to find the volume of this rectangular prism. This one you guys don't have to draw, you can just write volume over here on the side. And then on the right, I'm going to show you how we would work that out, okay? So volume, remember when we're finding measurements in geometry, we're always writing the formula. To find the volume of any rectangular prism, we're doing length times width times height. So go ahead and write that formula. You always write the formula, and then you just plug in the numbers. So in this one, I don't know all the numbers. I'm going to have to count them to see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I know my length is 4, my width is 3, and my height is 4. And now that I have all those measurements, all I have to do is multiply them together. So I'm going to do 4 times 3 first. 4 times 3 is 12. And then I bring down my times 4. So this is just like order of operations and algebra. Now I do 12 times 4. Well, that's a basic math fact that I know. It's 48. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 48 cubic units. one so you guys can see that again. So on yours, all you need to have is volume equals 48 cubic units on the left. You don't have to have the picture, but you do have to have all of this work. Length, volume equals length times width times height. And then the measurements we used to find what the volume of this rectangular prism was. Then go ahead and draw your horizontal line, and we're going to do one more. So again, you don't need to draw the picture, just write volume over here, and then write our formula on the work side. Volume equals length times width times height. Then we have to find what it is here. So 2 is our length, 2 is also our width, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is our height. So now I'm going to plug those numbers in to our formula right here. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 2 times 2 times 9. 2 times 2 is 4, times 9, another basic math fact, is 36. The volume of this rectangular prism is 36 cubic units. Make sure you have this and this written, because remember, you're going to have to take a picture and put it on your first slide today.